I'm going to go with Dave Portnoy's political instincts because that's obviously something you have seen, I think, in the last couple of weeks is like really for the first time since Donald Trump emerged on the national scene as a political figure 10 years ago. The Republican base, once it became accepted that he was going to be the nominee in 2016, you didn't get a lot of criticism of Donald Trump. And if you did, you were on the outs with the Republican Party. And dating back to like March and the tariffs and all of that, like Dave Portnoy has shown a willingness to criticize Donald Trump, but to do so in a way that doesn't feel performative, doesn't feel adversarial, like feels like real legitimate criticism. And I think in some ways it kind of opened the door for a lot of the criticism you're seeing now with some of the Epstein stuff. And so, I last week, my number one pick that was overcovered was Stephen A. Smith for president. And now I'm wondering if we're undercovering Dave Portnoy 2028.
Does he have your vote?
I don't want to go on record with that just yet.
Okay. Well, you will someday. If we get any closer, I'll force your hand. Is it instincts or is it just reveling in attention? Like, I think that you could group Portnoy in with Rogan and Andrew Schultz and a couple other people who have begun to go viral anytime that their sails are turned in a new direction, about typically like conservative politics, because that's largely where they've aligned themselves, but really anything that they say. Is it that like, because instincts would tell me like Portnoy is like savvily kind of predicting and then kind of leading his audience and his kind of base of supporter people where he thinks they might be going, almost like a politician would, versus I kind of just think it's like, damn, it's pretty nice whenever whatever I say just gets covered and I can kind of just spout off about stuff and people will pay attention. Like, is it actually like he's ahead of us, or is it just we pay attention now?
I mean, I think there's a world where he criticizes Trump and the tariffs and his fan base turns on him, right? Like that's been the idea, is that like if you criticize Trump, you're on the outs with Trump. And it's like even Trump didn't like fire back at Portnoy. They were like shaking hands at UFC 2 weeks later. NBC News wrote a big feature at the time of like the Barstool issue the White House is facing, because they don't want the Barstool audience to turn on them. So I think it was instincts, or at least a confidence in his audience's willingness to stand by him as opposed to turn on him, which I think has been par for the course for a lot of conservatives over the last 10 years.
Do you think that the Barstool audience, like, how right-leaning is it? I guess I don't associate it that strongly with a political leaning necessarily. Mm-hmm. Maybe generally, because we could just kind of like paint a picture of the type of person that would consume their content, and then we can guess as to like where that person votes. But generally speaking, I don't think it's like Trump's base equals Barstool's audience, like a overlapping circles. So I guess like to me, I kind of have always interpreted it as those types, whether it's Portnoy or Rogan or Schultz, just as like stand-ins for the type of the group we're talking about. Like the independence and the lack of affiliation is kind of the point. So it's almost like you have to flex your, that's who I voted for. I may have supported this guy over the years, but I'm not beholden to shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm going to prove that to you every day, just so you don't get any ideas that that's my mommy or my daddy. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of think that's the point.
Yeah. I mean, Barstool is so big that I think it would probably be a mistake to lump like any of their audience in with one or the other. Like, I think like if you were to say somebody who listens to Pardon My Take, I would say they're probably on odds left leaning. And then if it's somebody who like is watching Dave Portnoy Davey Day Trader streams, probably right leaning. Right. Which is where he was doing a lot of these rants.
That's
but
true.
Is there, you mentioned Schultz. I think that's a good one. Like, is a part of this just like people have found out that it's good to oppose whoever's in power?
Yeah, I think that anti-institutionalism is really fucking in right now. Like, I think,
Yeah.
I think that it's cool. I mean, it's the same thing we talked, like, to go back to Stephen A. Smith when we brought in Jay Kang on that episode from the New Yorker to talk about his reporting on this. That's what he said. He's like, the Democratic nominee is going to just be whoever sticks it to the Democratic Party the most about
Mhm.
how miserably they handled 2024. Like, that's going to be what it is. So, maybe then you follow that out, and the Republican who is least coddled by the Trump establishment is going to be the guy who the next Republican primary revolves around, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's too far out to predict all that, but that's kind of, I think, definitely where the wind is blowing right now.